What is up, everyone? What is up? Sorry, I'm rushing around to try to get the stream started. It's very bright also. I didn't really test out the camera, so let me adjust some settings on the fly. How's it going, everyone? How's it going? Turn this down. Turn the brightness down a little. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hello, hello. Let's read some of this chat. Let's read some of this chat here. Hello from the UK. Hey, in the UK, how's it going? Hey, Raindrops. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Jennifer from Wales. Wow. Hey, Sammy. Hey, Angela. Hey, Terry from Pittsburgh. Hello. Oh, Raindrops is from Arizona. This one's hitting close to home for you then today. I'm sure you've heard of this case. Ann Arbor, Michigan. Sarah, hello. Jenny, hello. Alicia, hello. Shelly. Catherine. Sammy. Arizona native. Terry. Hello to you all. How's it going? How's it going? We're gonna jump into the case. We're gonna give some people a chance to get this notification and to hop in here. So I'm just gonna start chatting with some people that I'm seeing in the comments, and then we'll jump in. Obviously, this is not a video surrounding anything with the Gabby and Brian case, Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie case, and I know a lot of you have been following me primarily because of that. But I've had a few people request that I talk about this case specifically, and this one kind of hits close a little bit. I actually happen to be in Arizona like a week after this happened, and so I'll be able to share kind of my perspective on this case only a little over a week after, and then we're going to dive in and map out the entire case as well. So thanks for being here. Let's see. Deborah, hey, how's it going? Kim, Barbara, Susan, hey, Susan, Sunshine, Rebecca, Naomi, Karen, Cynthia, hello, Cynthia again. Shirley from Israel, wow, hello from Israel. Scotland, very nice, very nice. Like I said, for those joining, we're going to just wait a little bit. The stream has only been live for a few minutes now, so we want to give some people a chance to hop in here. You know what I'm going to do right away is I'm going to put a poll up initially right away. I'm going to ask you guys, for the 100 people that are in here, also thank you for joining. Hit that like button as you're joining. It'll help push the channel out to new people. But I want to ask you guys, are you guys aware of the Angela Tramonte case? I'm going to stick to her name as, I'm just going to call her Angela throughout the stream. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Tremont. But I'm curious, as we get started, who's familiar with the case. So let's see. What did Angela, big step, hope all goes well. Helping my daughter move out today, so I'll just be listening, but look forward to it. We have a few mysterious cases here at MSU. Angela, interesting. Did you say, I thought I saw something that said 2 missing at MSU or 2. I'll have to look into that, Angela. Well, thanks for listening at the very least. I appreciate it. MSU, is that Missouri State University? I mean, MSU could be anything. Mississippi State. I don't know where you're at, but thanks for joining and just listening along. Hopefully all is well with you, Angela. Hey, Shannon. Pittsburgh now, but used to live next to Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale. Interesting. Okay, so a few people definitely know about this case. Out of the 70 people-ish that have voted, we have an 84% saying that 85% saying that they have heard of this case. So I don't want to waste too much time because this stream today isn't going to be super, super long. It's not going to be as long as some of the others. If you're just now finding my channel and you haven't seen any of my other videos or any of my other streams, go check those out at some point, especially if you're interested in the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. But this one will be a little bit shorter today. I have some work I need to do later, and so I want to just dive in here for a little bit and go through some maps and go through the timeline of the case. And so let's get started. I know people will be joining late and just popping in and out, so we have to start at some point. Angela says okay, Michigan State University in Lansing. Wow. I'll have to look into that story. Okay, well, for today, we're diving into this. So for those of the 14% that voted that they do not know. Oh, wait, hold on. 86% says no. Oh, okay, hold on. I misread that. So we've got quite a few people here that don't know about this case. So 14% say yes. So that's, yeah, thank you. I opened the poll up and I totally misread that. So for the 14%, you obviously know what this case is about. For the 86%, let's dive in and let's start to talk about it, because it is interesting. And though we'll get through it to the end and we can talk about kind of our thoughts on the whole thing. I've had people reach out to me. People think there's some foul play involved, but let's go through. This is the Inside Edition article that came out shortly after, at the end of August, talking about the case. Angela Tramonte of Massachusetts had met, I'm going to just say Dario Dizdar. I'm going to just mention him. I'm going to reference him as Dario, and I'm just going to say Angela from now on. But had met Dario online just months prior to having flown to Arizona to meet him. She was declared dead less than 24 hours later. So I'm going to read through a little bit of this at the beginning. We'll watch some videos as well. But she was 31 years old. She died while hiking a popular Arizona trail with a Phoenix cop. It's been ruled an accidental death at this point. The cause of her death was listed as environmental heat exposure by the medical examiner. And despite friends and families having expressed their suspicion, which just occurred less than 24 hours after meeting the guy in Arizona, Dario, despite all of that, it was all just ruled an accident, heat exposure. And this actually took place, if we go to the timeline. Let me go to the timeline here. Angela Tramonte timeline. It must have gotten moved. So let me move the timeline over here. So if we look at the timeline, it starts down here, July 29th. Okay, so Angela flew to meet Dario on July 29th from Boston. So they mentioned she's a Massachusetts native. Cynthia says in summer it's 110 plus heat. So yeah, I know there's some people in here that are from that area or have lived in that area. So you guys are aware of what Phoenix can be like in the summer. So anyway, so she flew out to meet him on the 29th of this year, the 2021 in July. They had only met for they've only known each other for 2 months, possibly. Let's see. Someone said, can you possibly switch the highlighter to another color? I think it's just that article. So if I highlight things, it's going to be blue on this one. But anyway, so they spent the night at his apartment. She flew on the 29th. They spent the night at his apartment on the 30th, or they spent the night at his apartment the night she got in. On July 30th, in the morning, they went to go eat. They left his apartment and went to go eat at a place called Snooze AM Eatery, which I have pulled up right here. So first of all, she flew a considerable distance. This is obviously, they've only known each other for 2 months. It was clearly, at the point in the relationship where she felt like flying 5.5 hours, 6 hours to go meet this guy. So clearly they were interested, obviously enough to meet. This was someone apparently she had just met online. So they ended up going to this Snooze AM eatery, which I have pulled up right here on the map, the morning of the hike. And actually on this map, you can see that this must be a pretty new location, because at this point of the Google image, there's no building even here. And so this definitely looks like a pretty new area. Oh, look, here's Snooze right here. So it wasn't showing up on the map from above. But this is where they ended up eating breakfast. It looks like there's a Starbucks attached to the building. So it's kind of like you can go through, get your coffee, but it also is like a little diner, eatery type breakfast spot that you can go to. So this must be relatively new. And in fact, you can't see it on my screen. If I move it up and over, down here, right to the left of me, you can see this image was captured in February of 2021. So it's really hard to see, and I'm going to move that back over. But this must have been built relatively recently, like I said, because when you go and zoom out, it's just a lot. So anyways, so back to the timeline. They went to this breakfast spot pretty early in the morning. This was, like I said, just after she flew in. And then she had mentioned wanting to go hike Camelback Mountain. It says here that she began conducting internet searches to see if the trail was open, provided the address to the Echo Canyon trailhead. He apparently reported. Now, this is what's crazy about this case is like, we only have his word, right? He's reporting all of this after the fact. So apparently he reported that he didn't want to go to the Camelback Mountain, that he suggested the trail at North 16th and Thunderbird, or Thunderbird Mountain. So Thunderbird Mountain is what he suggested. And they do say that much of the breakfast event was confirmed by recovered surveillance video. And it looks like they were able to pull the cell phone data for both of them. So they probably did confirm that she was looking up places to go and looking up the trailhead. And I do see a lot of people talking about not hiking with water. I love seeing the comments coming through. I'm going to definitely go through some of these in a little bit. I'm reading the timeline now, but I love seeing these comments come through because obviously Sammy's already saying like, yes, water is a must. I see Hopkins coming in there with some of these really valid comments. 1 second. Do you think? Oh, yes. And so, yeah, I'm loving the comments coming through. So I'm going to keep it going. We're going to get another poll coming up here soon, especially after I kind of get the bulk of the story. And then before we dive into the maps, after hearing the story, for those 12% of you that haven't heard it yet, I'm going to ask you a question based on what we read here. So anyways, the area actually that he recommended, and like I said, they were at Snooze for breakfast. He ended up recommending the Thunderbird Mountain. And if we just scroll down, and we'll get into what the Echo Trail at Camelback Mountain is like, but all the trails, or at least the listed trails for Thunderbird Mountain, if you can see over here on the right, these are all listed moderate, easy, moderate to difficult. So if he is telling the truth about where he claimed to have wanted to go instead of Camelback, it is saying that all of those locations were much easier. And if we go into Camelback next, you can see, and also this is the area that they were eating right down here, the Snooze AM. The place that he recommended was Thunderbird, which is way up here in like northwest Phoenix area. I know that it's probably more considered Glendale, maybe. But that's where he recommended. It would be about a half-hour drive from their breakfast spot. And then she wanted to go down here to Camelback, which is a shorter drive, only 20 minutes roughly from where they ate right up here. But if we go to this page for Echo Canyon Trail at Camelback Mountain, we can go in, and almost some of the first things you see is like these big warning signs of extreme difficulty, extremely difficult. They call it a double diamond difficulty. This page comes up, and in fact, I hiked this trail on August 14th. Okay. They ended up finding her body on August 2nd, I believe. Or either the article came out on August 2nd. Either way, it was less than 2 weeks after this happened. I happened to be in Phoenix with a buddy of mine, and we were looking up places to go hike. We were like, let's go do a day hike and then, go get a big meal and a drink somewhere. And so obviously this was also middle of August, super, super hot outside. And so, we had to look into some of those things. And so obviously Camelback was a pretty popular mountain, but one of the first things I saw was this article talking about, before getting started on this hike, let's talk reality. People have died on this mountain. And then I looked into it a bit more, and all of the articles about Angela dying came up. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like someone just died on this mountain like 2 weeks ago. And so it was interesting to see that shortly after. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I surely didn't think I would be covering it on a YouTube channel a couple months later. But it definitely raised a red flag to us, because we were like, wait, is this too difficult of a hike? And I know we're not in the best shape in the world, but it was also like we didn't want to bite off more than what we could chew. So Dylan Keenan, what's up? Happy Sunday, double Aaron. What did I miss? Dylan, thanks for the $5 super chat. I am just filling people in on the case for today. We are going over the timeline currently for the death of Angela Tramonte, a Massachusetts native who ended up meeting a guy online, and that within 24 hours she died on a mountain. And we'll get into the details. We're getting into the nitty gritty right now, but some people are suspecting maybe some foul play. But I'm kind of going through the details of that. So if you want to just keep watching from here, feel free. Or, we haven't been streaming super long. Maybe go watch the beginning and catch back up. But we're just kind of getting into the story right now. I still see some people are joining. We're almost at 100 likes. We got 215 people in here. So, maybe let's get that over 100. I see it coming. There it is. Whoever that was, you just did it. And Robin Lynn coming in with the super sticker, the cool super sticker. Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate that. I'm going to read a couple of these comments while I sip some coffee. Shelly says, super sus because of the cop. Okay, so Shelly is one of the 88% of, or the 12% of people that are aware of this story, unless she just continued to read the article on her own. Because yes, we're going to get into who she met and why this story is a little suspicious. But thank you, Dylan, and thank you, Robin, for the super chat and super sticker. It is very much appreciated. So let's get back into it. So obviously, like I said, when I went to go research this trail, it was just same kind of thing how Angela must have done it. In the morning, we were eating breakfast at our hotel, and we were like, let's go find a place to hike. And we were Googling places, and all these articles were coming up about someone who had just died there. And it freaked us out a bit, because like I said, we weren't prepared. We had enough water, obviously, but we didn't want to, like I said, waste time and go to a trail that was too difficult. We didn't have like climbing gear, if that makes sense. And we didn't know if it was like, do we need that? And so once we figured out we didn't need that, we decided to go for it. And I'll tell a little bit more about my situation. I'll just say it was August 14th when I hiked. It was incredibly hot. It was so hot, in fact, that I felt at times like I could pass out, and we had enough water. And in fact, if I go to my Instagram right here, let me show you. It's one of my most recent photos on Instagram. This is, 11 weeks ago is when I posted this. I can't really zoom in here, but this is at the top of the mountain, and you can see I have a huge jug of water right here. I'm doing my tree pose, and yeah, this is my buddy RJ who went with me. This was like a little area off the trail that we were able to go check out. This is a photo of my buddy RJ on the trail. The trail, and I'll go into some videos. It is a super difficult. When they talk about the extreme difficulty about Camelback Mountain, I don't think they're talking about technical hiking or climbing skills. You don't need tools and ropes and things, but it's a lot of really, really high incline, like steep incline, and a pretty big elevation gain over a pretty short amount of time. And there's lots of just big rocks that you have to climb on, and it's very, very easy to slip. You're never really too close to massive sheer drops, but it can be very easy to get hurt. This was at our hotel that we were at. This isn't on the mountain. And then there I am right there. Hello, there I am. I snuck into a pool. Anyways, go follow me on Instagram, I guess, if you would like. I don't really promote my Instagram much, but that's a photo from it. So we were there, and it was very hot. So if that's one thing that was a takeaway, is that I can attest to that. It was incredibly hot, even with a lot of water. The interwebs tells me she died on the hike on July 30th, but found on August 2nd. Oh, so she was found on August 2nd. So that's where this August 2nd thing is coming in. Interesting. Thank you, Alicia. So, wow, it's crazy that she was there for 2 days before they found her. My gosh. First one. Hey, how's it going? It looks like steep enough for ropes and lots of scrambling. Yeah, so let me go into the next thing. So I have this, I'm going to show some videos from actually on the trail, not that I took personally, but that I have found. And so I have a subscription to this site now called All Trails. And so what's cool is we can actually type echo, let's just type in Camelback Mountain, and that there it is right there, Echo Canyon Trail. So we can actually pull up, I just paid the subscription for this to be able to pull up the specific hikes. So it's going to pull up the trail for us, and we're going to be able to see the actual map of the hike. So we can, obviously this is the actual hike that I went on as well, the Echo Trail. So I'm familiar with it, but if we zoom out, we can see the exact trail. We can see elevation levels at certain points on the trail. Angela, thank you for the super sticker. You're amazing, Angela. Thanks for being at almost all of the streams. I feel like you're at all the streams. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad that you're here, even though we're not talking about the Brian and Gabby case. I really appreciate you still stopping by. But yeah, this is the All Trails app, and so it's very interesting. We can go into the 3D map. We can go and actually look. We can turn 3D on, and we can see once it kicks into gear here. Yeah, we can see the mountain in a 3D view, and we can actually see the trail on the mountain. So if we turn it sideways, you can kind of see the Echo Trail starts right down here. And if we follow the blue or follow the red line down here, you can see where the elevation gets obviously much higher. This would be the peak of the mountain. And then as you come back down, it's pretty much a mirrored image because you come back down pretty much the same trail that you go up. So it gets up to about 2,700 feet roughly in elevation. So it's not like we're not climbing Mount Everest here. It's not the tallest mountain in the world, but coming down from the parking lot, you are getting well over 1,000 feet of elevation. Like I said, it's steep, jagged rocks. You can lose your footing easily. It's ridiculously hot. And so this is the trail that they were on. And there's another trail that was closed that you can see is the Koala Trail, I think is what it was called. No, Kola, here it is, whatever it's called. That was closed down when we were there. So this is, I think, the only trail that's open right now to the public. So it was reported. Now let's go back to the timeline because this is where things get interesting. I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but I wanted to show you guys this cool map that I have access to now, and it'll be kind of cool to go through and see certain parts of the trail, and we can use this on other cases, which is cool too. So let's go to the timeline. Okay, so they drove to the Echo Canyon trailhead. This is where it is located, and like I said, I'll pull the actual trailhead up. Angela took videos of the mountain and trail from the parking lot. They began their hike at 1,000 hours, so like 10 in the morning. Sammy, I don't know if she'd hiked before. Her friends had reported her being pretty active overall, so I think she had some experience a little bit with trails, but possibly not. So, and Alicia is jumping ahead in the case. I love it. I love it, Alicia. So we're getting to that next part, and this is where it gets very suspicious about this guy. You know what we should do? Thank you, Alicia, for commenting that. because she's talking about the suspicion around this guy. Let's play the video. Let me play the video, and I don't know if this is going to give as much detail as we want, but let's jump into this because I want you guys to feel a little bit engaged in this more so than my reading. I want you guys to be like, wow, this seems a little fishy. Or you might not think it's fishy at all, but let's play this video and then we're going to go back into the thing. Alicia, thank you for commenting that because I need to jump to the point. This is suspicious.
Mourning the death of a woman who died hiking on Camelback Mountain Friday. Team 12's Colleen Sikora spoke with Angela Tramonte's friends and family who said she flew in from Boston on Thursday to meet a man she'd been chatting with online, and they're stunned by her death. Colleen?
That's loud.
The goal was to find a missing hiker alive.
It ends in a very tragic way.
Phoenix fire crews instead finding 31-year-old Angela Tramonte dead. Phoenix Fire telling 12 News they spoke to the man she was hiking with, who said they separated when she started to feel bad.
She was feeling a little bit overheated.
Now Angela's friends find themselves mourning her death.
We were all best friends. We felt like sisters. 25 years of friendship.
Her friends say Angela came to Phoenix from Boston to meet up with a man she had been chatting with online for a few months.
None of us thought it was a good idea.
12 News has confirmed that man is a Phoenix police officer. Phoenix Police has not responded to multiple requests about his current role in the department, and we have not been able to reach him. 12 News is not naming him since he is not facing any criminal charges, and investigators did not consider Angela's death suspicious. Phoenix Fire says the pair went up Echo Canyon, Angela turning back while the man continued hiking. When the man got back to his car and didn't see her, he called 911 around 1 p.m. Her body was found nearly 4 hours later.
She was pronounced deceased adjacent to a home right up against the mountain.
The fact that he didn't protect his guests who flew all the way to a different state.
So it's kind of hard to hear the friends here. I'm going to go ahead and pause it. They just basically go on to say, why didn't you protect her? Why didn't you, why did you separate, right? MJ says separated on the hikes, WTF, and I'm seeing some of those comments come through. Also, Shelly saying, I can't imagine doing this in 100 degree weather without supplies, super crazy, or very crazy, very sad. So that's kind of a rough story of what happened. So they went on to this hike. They set out with reportedly little or no water, which, first of all, is just really irresponsible. And then reportedly about halfway up the mountain, which we're going to go on that All Trails map and show you guys where that may have been. And someone actually thinks that they may have gotten a photo of them, which they did get the photo of them. They think it may have been when they actually separated because it appears that she was maybe going the opposite direction and he was continuing up the mountain. Reportedly, he was supposed to go up the mountain to get photos for her Instagram. And she went back down to the car. Look, I was on that hike. You don't need to go to the top to get incredible Instagram photos. You don't need to get, honestly, the moment you're outside the parking lot and you walk a quarter of a mile up the trail, it's a very easy part of the trail. You get incredible photos for Instagram. So it's like, it seems odd that he reported that that's what she said. And maybe she did. You know what I'm saying? Like all of this could be, I'm speculating here. It just seems weird because if you were feeling that, especially if you started the hike and you were feeling like, whoa, maybe we shouldn't do this. This is a pretty intense hike. We have no water. Maybe you would just say, you know what, let's get a quick couple photos while we're here and go do something else. Rachel, why wouldn't you go with her to make sure she was okay? All of it is super suspicious. Look, I was there with a good buddy of mine, and honestly, if I would have turned around, he would have came with me. We would have been like, all right, let's go together, because I could slip and break my ankle, or he could do the same. And granted, we were there, and there was a fair amount of people, and so that was another thing. I feel like if you were in desperate need on that trail, you could really get some help potentially. But if she was, she, regardless of what happened to her, she probably was suffering from some sort of exhaustion related to heat, because I felt that. And so it is just super, super weird. A lot of people are starting to chime in. And Alicia, no worries for mentioning that ahead of time, because we need to get into the bulk of this story, because people are now starting to comment how odd this is, how crazy it is. So let's get into a little bit more about him. Okay. So I'm going to go to this page, and I'm going to read this. This is kind of someone who's posting a conspiracy, not a conspiracy, but some thoughts about the case. So I'm going to read through this very briefly, and then we're going to go back into the timeline. How high traffic is a trail? Like, would someone not see her? Exactly, Alicia. The trail when I was there was pretty high traffic. Like, there was actually a guy that tore his ACL on the trail when I was there, and we were going to offer to help, we offered to help kind of assist him back down the last half of the thing. And so, there's people that definitely could likely help unless they just don't see you go off the trail. So this person posted on Reddit and said, now, I'm no conspiracy theorist. I'm not sure if this is the right sub, but tragic accident was reported just a week ago. And I believe that there was foul play involved. So this is kind of what we've read so far. She flew in from Boston all the way to Phoenix to go on a date with Dario, a cop she had been texting for 2 months. This was the first date. The first day of their time together was hiking Camelback Mountain. She supposedly neither of them brought water. Halfway through the hike, Angela feels ill and heads back up to the car. Dario keeps hiking. 4 hours later, Angela is found. So this is where it's a little bit odd, because this is saying 4 hours later she was found dead in the driveway of a local home, presumably due to heat stroke. Not sure if the timeline on this is correct. Like I said, we're just kind of reading this. And it says at this time, Dario is not a suspect. So this person has listed some of the key points in all of this. Their biggest concerns is what they listed at, which also, I just realized there's over 300 people in here. Let's get those likes smashed so we can go into the YouTube algorithm and more people can hear about this story. So thank you to the 300 people that are here. All right. Anyways, this person has listed Dario, the cop, is on the Brady list for dishonesty and has lied about almost everything in the investigation so far. This is interesting. So for those of you who don't know, the Brady list is essentially like a list that officers get put on, law enforcement can get put on if they've shown distrust and if they've had a record of lying. Let's just look up the actual Brady list definition real quick. So the Brady list is a compiled list by prosecutor's office or police department containing the names and details of law enforcement officers who have sustained incidents of untruthfulness. That's what it is. Criminal convictions, candor issues, and some type of issue placing their credibility into question. So this guy has been put on this list. His credibility has been in question in the past. I don't know if it goes into it on this article, but I think he had lied about his identity at one point. And so there's all sorts of reasons why this guy has had issues in the past. And so it's super, super weird. The Tom Brady list. What's up, Juicebox? Thanks for being here. Hey, Shay, how's it going? Amy says, I was in Arizona during August. Yeah, it was so hot. I was there as well. It's crazy. But anyways, let's continue going through this. So, anyways, he was on this list. That's already a little bit suspicious just because it's doesn't sound like the most upstanding guy, in my opinion. And then, yeah, we talked about this, how a lot of her friends and loved ones say that none of this adds up. So here are some specific notes. Dario, the cop, has lied to law enforcement before, his own department. He claims he left Angela on the hike because she asked him to take pictures with her phone, but when Angela's body was discovered, she reportedly had her phone on her. So I don't know when he made that claim and if he fumbled over his words or what, but this is super weird to me that she had claimed to take photos with his phone and he didn't even have her phone. Dario has a wife and kids and didn't tell Angela about them. Now, this is one of the bigger red flags. Okay. And like I said, if all of this is true, then this just puts a pretty big target on him as being super suspicious in all of this, because the wife and kids thing, look, cheaters are everywhere. It's a common thing, unfortunately. But a situation like this where someone goes missing and then eventually is dead, people think, what if she caught on to the whole him having a wife and kids thing? Anyways, when initially asked by officials, Dario said he hiked Camelback every day at the same time, but when asked later, he claims it was his first time hiking Camelback. Now that's super weird to me. And I actually saw in another article that he wasn't claiming that he hiked it every day, but that he was familiar with it. So it's like, I don't know what's true, but he has been quoted in several articles after the fact saying that he was familiar with this mountain. And so it's like, what's the real story here? And reportedly, neither Dario or Angela had water on them while they were hiking the mountain in 104-degree heat. Yet Angela's friend says, well, now that's a little weird. Angela's friend says she was obsessed with drinking water. I mean, that could be. I love drinking water as well. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't have it. So it's like, Shannon, this is getting weirder. Yes. I'm seeing all of these people getting frustrated. He had a wife? Yeah, he had a wife apparently. So yeah, we're going to continue on. And we're actually going to find the house. I think I'm going to be able to hone in with the maps on the house in which she was found based on the reports that were given. And since I was there, I think I know the area. So Dario says after reaching the... Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Where are we? The house the two had met at before their hiking date the following day was not Dario's house, but a friend's house. So he was claiming that it was his house. Likely he was just at a friend's house and it was just to throw her off and not, make it to where she doesn't know that he has a wife and kids, right? He probably had a buddy that was like, yeah, you can claim that this is your house. Super weird. Angela's friend received a text that she felt creepy vibes from Dario before her disappearance. Now, I'd love to know if all of this is true. And I imagine if this story is big enough, if there really is a lot of people that are in the boat of thinking there's foul play involved, then maybe there will be a documentary about this and we'll get legitimate texts and interviews from her friends. Because this, I feel like, has enough behind it to talk about, to make a documentary about it. Because if that's true, the creepy vibes thing, super suspicious. Dario says that after reaching the top of Camelback, he got lost coming back down and had to take an Uber to the parking lot. But other cops say he hiked Camelback frequently, which would mean that he doesn't get lost, right? These statements contradict Dario's changed story that he was new to the specific mountain. Perhaps he wanted an alibi for why he didn't call 911 for hours, knowing his date was missing. This is suspicious, okay? This is suspicious. He apparently got lost on the way down as well. Look, I hiked this mountain, and if you are experiencing some level of heat stroke, I could see that being the case. Look, he may have been out of it as well on the way down. But if what he was saying after being interviewed directly after all of this, talking about being so familiar with the mountain, why did he have to take an Uber? Where did he end up? And it was apparently reported that he ended up in the neighborhood near where she was at. So it's like, did he go down with her and then took it's super, super weird. I'm getting a lot of people. Yeah, that's BS. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wife and kids, borrowed house or apartment. What the heck? Curbside says, smash that like button. Thank you. Alicia says, please gently tap the like button. Alicia's caught on. Guys, sometimes I say smash the like button, but what I'm really saying is just gently touch it. I don't want you to break your mouse or your computer. Just gently tap the like button. Just graze across it. We'll get to 200 in no time. More people will see the stream and hop in here. Yeah, some people are... Yeah, this is super weird, right? Uber from parking lot, 4 houses away from her body. We're going to map out the Uber once we get confirm where her body was found, but let's keep going into it. So when Angela turned back, she was supposedly going to the car, which would have water and AC, but her date did not give her the keys. So once again, even if that was the true story of her turning around, if she wasn't reportedly given the keys, what was she going to do? Go stand outside the car? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Although I will say there were park rangers when I was there at the base of the mountain that would have been able to help. But there was no like AC, like a building with AC near there. So anyways, sorry, I'm going to go to this screen. A hiker who had come in contact with Dario that day said he felt unsettled by him and wanted to give information to the police, but they didn't want to hear all his tips. So if that's true, then the police potentially were brushing this under the rug. And I know I saw a comment earlier of someone saying they just swept this under the rug. Like I said, don't know what all is true in this article. But if even half of the things here are true, then this, like I said, it paints him in a really bad way. That's for sure. So anyways, what do you guys think? So I'm going to bring another poll into play now that the 14% of people who, or the 85% of people who are unfamiliar with the case have been caught up and are aware of the case. We can add one more poll here and say, 1 second, I'll get it up here. Let's see, how should we word it exactly? What did, yeah. So just by that story, and like I said, I don't know what all is true with that story. We only speculate here. We only go with what we have, and we go to different news articles. We go all over the place with what we know just initially. And I saw a lot of people saying, trust your gut, trust your instincts. With what you've heard just now, do you think foul play was involved in Angela's death? I'm going to put the poll up. We've got almost 400 people in here. Thanks for getting the 200 likes, guys. We're almost, this is great. We have over half of the likes that we have people in the chat. So this is great. But to the almost 400 people in here, now this is the one I want to hear. I want to see the response. Do you think that Angela's death, that there was foul play involved in Angela's death? And of course, on this one, already the overwhelming majority is 93% yes, 91%. And to the people saying no, I just want to say, I by no means am, saying 100% that foul play isn't involved. This could have been a case of just two people incredibly unprepared going on a hike that they should have had water on. But I'm just going into the story in a way that I don't know. I'm just sharing it with people, and we're just going through to see if we feel like it really lines up. So to the 10% who have said no, I'd love to know what you think. If you just think, was it just heat exhaustion? Was it just a freak incident? Was it just an unfortunate situation overall? I'd love to know what you think. And I'd love to hear that. So definitely leave a comment. Be respectful in the comments, obviously, because we still are talking about someone's death here. This is someone that passed away. It's unfortunate. So Lawrence says, no foul play discovered. Still a cruel man to dismiss his girlfriend on a grueling hike. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Because I like that you still mentioned, like, super cruel to go about it the way that he did. Negligent, yes. Not sure about foul play. Yeah, I appreciate these comments. Yeah, this is... I'm not trying to sway anyone in one particular direction. Beach Gal, we're gonna go into the autopsy in a second. Yeah, Barbara, suspicious, uncertain at this stage of foul play. Well, let's go into the next thing here, which is some video on Camelback Mountain, and then we're gonna go into a little bit more. Into a little more in depth with the mapping. I saw also JTube in here. Hey Uber, can you come get me and take me back to my car? I'm lost. Sure. Where can you pick up? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly. So this is a couple of people that hiked the trail, and I want to show you guys at the beginning of the hike, there's a lot of these areas that are fenced off, and this kind of keeps you from going over some of the big sheer drop-offs. So there wasn't a lot of moments that were like this, but this is one of them where it was a very, very steep incline where you had the fence to be able to hold on to and the railing. But then it basically turned into this kind of a hike where it's like a lot of big rocks. So this is them coming back down. It's very pretty, Cindy. Yeah, it's incredibly gorgeous. This is them coming back down. You can see all the neighborhoods down in the bottom or in the top of the screen. This is kind of what obviously this is what they're talking about with the big rocks. This is them going back down the railing. It was a tough hike. It wasn't super easy. And I think the heat is the biggest part of that. The heat played a huge factor in how this thing, if this hike would have just been 60 degrees, 60 and sunny, then it would have been fine. So even like when I hiked this trail, it was difficult, but I think the heat was like 50% of how it was so difficult. So if I mute this guy is down at the base of the mountain, which is very close to the parking lot. Let me just pull this up real quick. I would 100% break my ankle on this. Yeah, there was someone that was pretty capable that, like I said, he tore his ACL when we were there or tore something. He said he didn't know exactly. He just said, I think I tore like my ACL or something. So here's real quick before we go into it. This is the parking lot right here. We parked right here when I was there. We didn't realize that there was way more parking up here, so we had to hike kind of up. This is the entrance where the video that we're about to watch starts out. Cindy, we are going to find out where she was found in just a moment. I'm going to find it. I found some news coverage that shows the house taped off with crime scene tape. We are going to do a live mapping to show where she was found. So stick around.
The death of a mass.
It's going to happen in just a moment. Anyways, so this video here is the entrance to the park. And this guy here actually goes through and does what's called a time warp, where he speeds up his video. Sorry about that. I was on my full screen. So like I said, this was the entrance, what we just showed on the map. And then he goes into what's called a time warp that speeds up the hike. So this right here in the top, this is called the praying man. And from certain angles, it looks like a man leaning over praying. So at this point, we'd be seeing his back. So that was interesting. So there's another shot of that praying man. And when you're driving in, certain angles look like that. DeQuinto says she was found behind a person's house. Yes, and I see the house in a video. We're going to go through it and we're going to find it because they taped it off. So some news footage shows that. So this may be a little dizzying for some people. So I'm going to pause throughout, but this is some of those sections early on in the hike that go along the rock face. And some of them have stairs early on, you can see. So these were relatively easy. And then this is that kind of area where it's all rocks. And you just kind of climb up. And these aren't really super jagged, super huge rocks. So it's not too terribly difficult. I would imagine it would be pretty hard if there was any moisture at all on the trail, because you would be slipping. And that would be difficult. Someone said, how many miles round trip? First one says, how many miles round trip? I'm going to go back to the All Trails app in a moment to show you, but it's not a lot, but it's definitely, it was tough. It was tough. If I move further on into the hike, we get to kind of some of those bigger rocks, as you can see. So you're sometimes stepping off of rocks that are like double the size of a person. And you're really just kind of having to watch your footwork all the way through. And this is a little bit fast, so it's nice to pause. But yeah, you can see here, there's not like a trail. So it could be easy to kind of get lost. Every now and then there's trail signs, there's mile markers along. But there's definitely different routes you can kind of take. And my buddy and I were definitely... we were kind of, going off the trail a little bit and taking different routes, but ultimately kind of sticking to the route. This video is a little bit slower. Let's see. This video is a little bit slow. Oh gosh, sorry guys. You get an idea of the rocks. All right. So anyways, you guys get the idea there. We're going to go back and we're going to go to the hike, the trail. So the length, 2.5 miles. So, oh, there, DeQuinto went ahead and posted that. So it's going to be 1 point. So right around here is the mile mark. And then all the way up to the top is 1.2. And then all the way back down is another 1.2 roughly. So 2.4, 2.5 miles total. It was reported that about halfway up, and this is where we're going to get into finding where she was located. About halfway up, is when she turned back. So if we go on this, right where my mouse is at, is the peak. So if we go to about the halfway point, it's going to be right around here. So if we go straight above that, right around here would be the halfway point. So if she turned around and went back down at this point and he went back up, where could she have gotten lost to end up in the neighborhood that she ended up in? And it was reported that she ended up in the northeast part of the mountain. So north is directly above us, east is to the right. They're obviously not on this part of the mountain. The northeast part of the entire mountain would be over here. But in terms of the trail, the northeast neighborhood would just be over here. So we can begin our search over here. But before we do that, we can go ahead and look at the video footage from this article and we'll be able to see the house. Joyce says, I'd be done when the stairs ended. Yeah. Shannon, they did the hike early in the morning. They started at about 10 a.m. And I did the hike around the same time, and I mean the sun was already out enough to be very hot. And I did the hike maybe 2 weeks after they did the hike, roughly. So I was there right around the same time.
We start tonight, though, with a story our ABC 15 investigators broke.
A woman found dead near Camelback Mountain was hiking with a Phoenix cop. And tonight we know the woman's name is Angela Tramonte, a 31-year-old visiting from Boston. She was found dead Friday after separating from that cop to turn back down the mountain in the summer heat.
Tonight, our Dave Biskabing learning more about the officer. He joins us now with all the details.
During hours of searching Friday in triple-digit heat on Camelback Mountain, Phoenix fire officials gave this initial report.
So we were being told that she's from Boston and that they arrived here yesterday afternoon. This is her first full day. She's never been here before.
But he's from the Phoenix area.
Yeah, he's from here. He is originally from another country. He's been living here for a while, he said, and he's very familiar with this mountain. Says he hikes it at this time of day all the time from the top to the bottom.
What fire didn't know then, and we know now, that man is Officer Dario Dizdar. He's a 14-year member of the Phoenix Police Department. He met Angela Tramonte online. They had been chatting for a couple of months. She flew out to meet him in person for the first time, arriving Thursday afternoon. But she would be found dead less than 24 hours later. Here's a timeline. Dizdar and Tramonte went hiking in the mid-morning. Between approximately 10:30 and 11 a.m., the two split.
Halfway up, she becomes overheated, wants to turn around. He tells her to turn around, go back down to the parking lot. He continues up to the peak, makes his way up to the top, comes all the way back down to the parking lot. She's not here.
At 1 p.m., Dizdar calls 911. Around 5, her body is found.
You know, you never leave someone behind.
ABC 15 spoke to a group of Tramonte's friends in Massachusetts about her sudden death.
She gets overheated and they agree to let her go down and he continues up. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
It's disgusting for us, for him to have allowed that. How do you not accompany somebody down when they're having a very hard time up the mountain, when she's exhausted? How do you have no disregard for somebody else's safety, especially when you're a police officer?
These women say Tramonte was kind, strong, confident, also very fit and exercised regularly. Fire officials say Tramonte was found already dead in the backyard of a house along the mountain.
So that's where we're going to pause the video for now. We can see they talk about her being found in the back of a house. This is the house that they show in this article that is taped off, and we can see some rock formations behind. And actually, if I move this up, let me show you guys. There's a bit more to see of that rock formation. And so we get a little bit of context of the house. There's a gate, it's taped off, and we have a bit of rock behind. So we're going to go find this house so we can map out exactly where she got off the trail and ended up being found. Okay, so thanks to the 400 people that are here. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button. Thanks for stopping by. I know I'm not covering the Gabby Petito case, but we're taking a day to talk about this. I've had several people mention this to me to map out this potential route that she could have been on. And I had just hiked this after the fact. So I thought, you know what? I'm familiar with this to some degree. I can kind of speak to the story. It is a crazy story. It is a crazy story. So let's take this image and let's take what we know about the area in which she got lost. Okay, so let's go back to the mountain here. It was reported that halfway up the mountain, she turned around. So we know that here is the parking lot. Okay, and then the trail, you can kind of see the trail pretty easily at the beginning. Runs along here. Here's those stairs that I don't remember who they said would turn around after the stairs ended. There's some of the stairs, and then you don't see the fence along the side here, but this is where that fence would be that goes along the rock. And then the trail turns into those big rocks, and Google Earth and all these maps aren't going to show you those rocks, but that's what you're seeing here. And then if I turn the mouse and just kind of go along here, this is kind of what you'd be going up all the way to get to the top. Okay, so let me just zoom out. You can kind of see the trail, honestly. It goes right up the center of this. And then eventually you go up all the way and you get to the top, okay? So reportedly, about halfway up, she turned around, okay? So let's go to the halfway point. So like I said, if you look, let me move this up again. If you look down here where my mouse is at, halfway up, the 1.2 miles is going to be just over the mile mark. So let's just call it, well, no, sorry, just over the half mile mark. So like right around here, between here and here, right? Let's just say right around here. If we go back, she was reported to have been found in the northeast neighborhood, and we have that image. So this is a great case for mapping. Let's go ahead and do this. If we look at this big rock formation and we match it up over here, someone caught a sneak peek. Hold on. Let's go back to this. Sorry guys. That was a sneak peek of an item that is being sent to my house right now. It is a mug. It is a mulling over maps mug, and we are mulling over some maps. Hold on. Let me go back to this. So here we go. Here is the area, and Google Maps is always going to look a little bit different than other services. So right around here is the halfway point, roughly. So if we go to this map here, it's going to be parking lot up here, trail, and then right around here is going to be the halfway point. So if we look, say she decided to turn around at this point and go back down, it's very easy to, instead of going on this left side, go down this center point here and end up down through here into this neighborhood. So let's go through this neighborhood and look at some of these homes and see if we can't find the house that matches up with this image right here, okay? Because they said they found her in the backyard of one of the neighboring homes. And in fact, before we do that, I know I'm all over the place. Someone asked me if they thought that they were arguing on the trail. This was a hiker that had taken a photo of them on the trail. And right here on the left, this is reportedly, this is Dario here with his shirt off and sunglasses on. And then this would be Angela. And it appears that she's turning around. And this may have been the point. And it says down here, the photograph potentially was the time where she decided to turn back while Dizar continued up towards the summit. The person who took this photo, the last name is ORR. He mentioned that he overheard some of their conversations. He said there appeared to be some sort of dispute. So I don't know if he was saying like, come on, just come back up, come up to the top, or, I don't know what they may have been arguing or disputing over, but he, at one point even asked her, if she was doing okay. It says that he passed her. He tried to make small talk with Dario, who was hiking faster. Everyone was friendly, but he ignored me. So it is odd that he ignored the dude. So, I mean, we were making small talk with people up the mountain when I was there just a couple weeks later. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys, this is the photo of potentially the moment that they turned around. And you can see these are those neighborhood. I mean, this is a much further neighborhood off in the distance, but she could have very well gotten lost on the way back down. So let's go and pull that map back up. And let's just say that at this point is where we're seeing that photo. And in fact, if we go back somewhere along here, is this right here. And yeah, like, let's just look at the side by side, guys. Oh, wow. Look, it's almost like you can see the same rocks, like the big rocks over here to the right. And then those are off in the distance. I don't know. Ooh, you know what? Look at that. This peak right here, I'm going to zoom in on it. That looks like this down here. Anyways, continuing on, let's go down into the neighborhood where she potentially could have been found. So if she did turn around and ended up down here, she could have ended up in any of these backyards. So let's go ahead and go to the street view and look at some of these homes. So we're going to try to match it with this footage here, okay? We're going to try to match it with this. Okay, we're going to try to find this gate with this rock formation right here. And hold on. This right here kind of looked... So we're on the street now. This is the mountain way up here, back behind us. Look at that. Hold on, guys. This is happening live. This is happening live. Do you guys see that? That looks similar. It's from a different angle. So let's go find this. Let's go find this house. There's the rock. We may have just found it. K's, beautiful struggle. Thank you for the $2 super sticker. Thank you so much, K's. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. I think we may have just found this. Guys. Let's go to the... Okay, so here's a house. Oh, goodness. I just shot across the state. Let's drop a pin down here. I think we may have found it. Guys and gals. Sorry, I say guys all the time. I know it's primarily women in the chat. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to just split screen this. I think we just found it. Hold on. Look at this. This is it. That's the same house. That's it. There's the gates. The gate gives it away instantly. Wow. Okay, so this is it. Huh. Gate gives it away. Yeah, that's the house. I'm just amazed. That was so fast. And then, like, look, there's the rock right above it. Same exact shape. If we zoom in right there, there it is. There it is, guys. Not that this is the craziest find in the world, but the fact that we just matched the police footage and like immediately. Okay, nice. Pamela, can you say hey y'all? Hey y'all. Hey Pamela. Pamela, what do you think about this? I just wow, there it is. So let's now what we can do, we can get the trail mapped out, and we can actually go backwards. We'll go to the backyard of this house. And just like first one said, which path do you think she took? Let's go backwards and try to find this out. So, wow, that's definitely the house. Let's just confirm. Yeah, we got all the plants up on the side of the house. We've got the gate. We've got the 2 windows here. It's kind of blocked by the trees. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's zoom out. So there's that rock. So let's just put a pin right here, and let's go ahead and measure the distance. If we zoom out and we turn, I'm going to try to do this somewhat slowly to keep the north in the north side. So here we go. This is where they apparently found her, back behind this house. I'm going to go back to full screen right here. The trail started, now look at this. The trail started over here. And we're going to follow the trail. This is that area in which it goes up along the edge of the rock, where there's some areas there's stairs and some areas there aren't. And look at this. She right over here is where they found her, right next to the trail. And I will say, from when I was there, also, sorry if you're dizzy, Sammy, I'm going to try to go slow. I have gotten comments to tell me to slow down on the mapping stuff. But when I came around the first time, it really was further down than it looks here, and it was pretty hard to look down at some of these houses. So, wow. And yeah, the cause of death was ruled heat exhaustion. So that is, one person was talking about the autopsy and all that. It was ruled heat exhaustion, but we're just going into kind of the route right now and seeing what potentially happened. So we found the area where she was found. So she wouldn't have been able to go down this part of the trail and get off unless there was an area right over here that she decided to come down after she went down the staircase. And that's odd, because like once you get to this part of the trail, the parking lot is right there. It's right there. It'd be pretty easy to just follow the general crowd, because once you get up here, the whole crowd is filtering down at a pretty quick pace because it's downhill back to the parking lot. If only I could do cartwheels in real life. So I would imagine, now I could be wrong, I would imagine that if she did end the hike, if they split up somewhere up here halfway through, instead of her coming down the trail over here, which you can see my mouse kind of moving off to the left, it goes down to the left around here and eventually connects this way. I would imagine she possibly went through this little valley and ended up down in this neighborhood. See what I'm saying, you guys? And then she possibly made her way right over here, where you can see my mouse, to this backyard. Now, like I said, she could have somehow managed to come down this, but I don't know. It's hard to say. So let's go ahead and just assume that she got off the halfway up the mountain, which would be roughly right around here. She decided to turn back. Okay. And we're going to measure the distance and the route through this crack, like we just said. Let's say she made it down through these houses, maybe went in between them. And guys, I don't know if this is the case. Possibly she kind of, I don't know if she would have gotten on the road. Then again, any sort of heat exhaustion, you just never know. I'm just going to do an initial map to this house that we found real quick. She could have very easily been trying to get back and ended up right here. So if we go to this map, it's 2,300 feet. Freebird says, I don't see her going down that down into that valley area. Yeah, I don't know. I hiked it, and like I said, you do have there are alternate methods. It doesn't look like it would be very easy to do this. I'm going to clear this measurement. But there's a possibility. And Freebird, even if she was not, even if it wasn't the valley, pretend. Okay, so let's just say on her way back she went down, and she was on this path. You can kind of see it. Even before the stairs start, which are the fencing part, which I should go back to this video and show you guys. This fenced in part looks like this. Oops. There we go. This fenced in area looks like this. That area, like I said, doesn't show up on Google Maps, but that area is all along this rock, and you can even see the stairs right there. And so see these homes over here to the left. This is the home that they found her in front of, right down here. Right down here. Okay, it's kind of right above my head. So right up here is that fenced in area. So even if she, before going on the fenced in area, which starts right around here, this is what could have happened. This could be more of a possibility. If we measure the distance through this area down into this neighborhood, she could have gotten on this side of the fence, on the right side of the fence. This kind of seems like more of a possibility to end up right down here. See what I'm saying? Because then if she would have made it up on this side of the fence, it's like I said, it's a straight shot to the parking lot. It's not hard to follow the people back. And even if she had heat exhaustion, she could have probably people would have probably seen her in just complete disarray, right? And then once you get up and over this hill, it's just straight downhill to the parking lot. So maybe she got up here and the fence ends at this point. It could have been as easy as her taking a right and just falling down, stumbling down the mountain here. Krista, I'm just tuning in. Was her body found or is she missing? This is a closed case, not a closed case. Unfortunately, the case of Angela Troutman, I don't want to butcher her name. Tramonte, I think. She was unfortunately found dead on the side of this mountain. And Angela, please, if you're like, this story is kind of a crazy one, go back and kind of listen. Maybe 10 or 15 minutes into this stream, I go into depth about the story. It's very interesting. And we're going through the possible way that she may have ended up where she ended up, the possible route. And so that's what I'm going through right now. She ended up being found right behind this home down here, because we see the news footage from this video. Well, now I've lost the video, but we'll come back on it. Oh, it's from the split screen. Yeah, here we go. This is the shot, Angela. So we match this up. The rock matches perfectly with the rock right here. This is the same home. You've got this 2 windows just like there, and then even the gate is a perfect match with the gate right over here. So anyways, we're just trying to see her potential route that she could have gotten lost on. She ended up hiking this trail. For a brief synopsis, she hiked this trail with a cop. He ended up going up the rest of the mountain by himself, and then she ended up being found dead later on because she turned around halfway. So that's what we're going through right now. let me end this poll here really quickly. But thanks to the people that are joining, I'm going to read some of the, let me read some of the comments. Do you think foul play was involved in Angela's death? So that we're going to end that poll. We had almost 250 votes. We have some coming in still. And we do have an overwhelming majority at 84% saying yes. And to the 17%, like I said earlier, it could just be a case of, a total accident happening. Regardless, it's a tragedy. But I'm going to end the poll with that and then potentially throw up another one here in a little bit. Speaking of throw up, someone asked, do you think S. Win said, do you think she went off the trail to throw up? I think that if you have that kind of heat exhaustion, you're probably not thinking like, let me get away from people to not embarrass myself. You're probably just going to throw up wherever you're at. So I would say maybe not. I mean, there were 2 times on this trail that for the people that have joined late, I hiked this trail 2 weeks after they found her body. And it is very, very tragic. I wanted to throw up twice and I would have just done it right where I was standing. So I don't know. And if she was feeling uneasy, there's another question. And I know I was going to maybe do the poll, Alicia, I saw your question there on whether we should do this with a poll. Some people maybe are thinking that she was going to get help from someone else, and maybe that's why she went to this yard. But I might put that up in a little bit. It was a pretty crappy thing for him to leave her regardless. The other part of the story that is suspicious to me, and now that we know the location right here that her body was found, this is what's interesting to me, is that reportedly he took an Uber back to the parking lot. Apparently he got lost along the way. And I know it wasn't in that previous article. Excuse me. It wasn't in that previous article or that video we watched, but apparently, and I'll try to find the article, he apparently took an Uber from a nearby area and took it back to the parking lot. So let's just look. If he were to take an Uber from, let's just say, the area in which she was found or near there, and then we decided to mark the parking lot, let's just see what kind of an Uber ride that would be. So here's the house. Let's hit drive. Okay, guys. So a 1 mile Uber. Oh, Angie, thank you for the coffee super sticker. Angie, I'm going to take my last sip of my iced coffee and say thank you. I need to take a sip anyways. Starting to get a dry throat. Oh my gosh, 300 likes as well. Thanks guys for the 300 likes, and thanks to the people sending super chats, super stickers. This has been a good stream so far. I hope to be able to talk more about the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case soon, but today we're covering this story. I've had several requests over the last couple weeks come into my DMs about this, just because there is some mystery surrounding it. And then, as we just saw from the map stuff, if you're just joining, we found the location that they had in this video where they found her. And now I'm drawing a blank. Here we go, right here. We were able to find this. So it's been an interesting live stream so far. But someone asked, why in the world would he be taking an Uber? Yeah, so I need to confirm that and figure this out. But if he was so familiar with this hike, then why did he also get lost on his way down and end up having to take an Uber from this neighborhood as well? It's super suspicious that he took literally a 1 mile Uber back to this parking lot. I mean, honestly, to this part of the parking lot, it's even shorter. So yeah, I don't know. How do you get lost when the trail is marked? And he does this mountain frequently. Yeah, Marlene. That's a good question. If he was so often hiking this trail, why did he get lost? I mean, I hiked this trail 2 weeks later. I didn't get lost. Granted, I also had water and I wasn't I didn't have heat exhaustion. But there were certain parts of the trail where you definitely could get lost. I mean, if we look at this mountain on the way up, there are ways to just veer off the left or the right side and make your way down, like for instance, into this neighborhood on this side, right? So it's possible. Marlene, that's a great comment though, because he apparently frequented this mountain. So it's like super, super suspicious. And if we can confirm that he did in fact take this Uber, then it's super odd. It's super, super odd. Why did he get lost? And why take a 1 mile Uber? Man, he is so sketch. How did he know where, what does it say? How did he know where she was to take an Uber to? So help us on the way. I don't think he knew where she was. So, well, that's the thing. I think people think that he, like, potentially if there was foul play, he was with her at this point where she was found, and he ended up taking an Uber to get away from her, and then later reported her missing when he got back to his car. Now, this guy has a history of lying, guys. If you're just joining the stream, if this guy was just like an outstanding citizen who had never had any sort of a weird record, then this whole story, it would almost be irresponsible to jump in and start thinking about potential like foul play involved. But the fact that this guy has been he's reported to have lied several times about his identity and about just huge things in his life, it's so odd. And the fact that the cops, he was in the force, right? So the cops could have very well just kind of brushed this whole thing. I want to know more about the about the situation in which he lied about his identity. Okay, yeah. So let's look into that. And Raindrop says, yeah, I'm going to read a few of these comments because these are interesting coming in. How did an Uber driver find their way to where he was? So when you call an Uber, it'll pick you up wherever you're at. I don't know who commented that. I don't know where that went. So if he, for instance, was maybe he walked down to this house, he called an Uber from here, it would know to come pick him up here, and then he would then have there's a predetermined location that you set on the Uber, and then he would just have been taken at that point to the trailhead where his car was at. So that's probably what happened. But let's look into it a bit more in terms of his his case. My Alexa just went off. The Alexa doesn't really. I have my light on, but you can't really see. You can see it in the reflection of the TV. Let's look into this guy a bit more. We're going to look up into the Brady List situation. Let's get a better idea of who this Phoenix police officer Dario is. Pamela, apparently he was married. So he was out on a date with this girl. She had just flown from Boston to come hang out with him, to go on a date. And he was apparently using another friend's house or apartment to convince her that he was single. These are all just rumors, right? We don't know if it's 100% true. Where was she found in comparison to where he was picked up? Did I miss that? Happy Days. No, I don't know where he was picked up. So I'd like to get that confirmed at some point. But it was reported that he took an Uber in a nearby neighborhood back to his car. So I'd only imagine it was probably near there. But regardless, it's odd that he would be taking an Uber anyways. Yeah, I don't know if the wife commented on the situation. We're like, I'm kind of wanting to just dive in on this live as we're all chatting about it, just because this is all just, I know only so much about it. So let's dive into the Brady List stuff. So yeah, they're talking about the Brady List. Oh, is this about him specifically? Here, hold on. Let me pull up the Brady List. Dario. Let's watch this. Yeah, she wasn't from Arizona. She was from Boston. She flew there and died less than 24 hours after she got there, which is very strange. Very, very strange. So let's just see here. The Arizona officer who took her a date on a hike in the desert before she was found dead. Yeah. Phoenix police officer Dario Dizdar has been with the force since 2007. I think he was reported in his mid to late 30s. And I saw a comment on that. He spent 14 years in the force. So that would put him at about like 23, 24 when he became a cop. So relatively young. And he was disciplined in 2009 for lying to Arizona police about his name and age during a criminal investigation, according to the internal affairs documents reported by the Daily Beast. So he isn't from the United States either. I believe he moved here from another country, and if I just overlooked that, my apologies. But Dizdar was at the Sangria Lounge in Glendale in September of 2009 when an officer questioned him about a friend who had allegedly been assaulted outside the bar. Dizdar identified himself as an officer but gave a fake name and date of birth and provided the officer with the wrong number for the victim, according to the file. So this is kind of where he lied about his identity. He reportedly has issues within the department in general with lying. So even he apparently was a chronic liar, is what someone also mentioned in another article, which I should have pulled up somewhere. We'll maybe get into that. Regardless, super suspicious that he would lie about his name, especially if at the time he was already an officer. He later told his supervisor of the matter, apologized, and cooperated with the Glendale police to investigating the assault. So this was something that happened 10, 12 years ago in 2009. So this was an incident that he had quite a while ago. So he, obviously it's been a while. So this all information came out after the Angela incident. So now obviously his history of lying has been brought to the forefront again. And now we're back to where we are with this story. When she was found off the Echo Canyon Trail in Phoenix, she had flown from Boston to meet him. I don't know. Like I said, if you guys are just joining and this at all sounds interesting, please watch the whole stream because we go into all of the detail, and I don't want to just be repeating myself here, but we're at that kind of point. So let me do this real quick. So let's look at this hiker recall. So this is someone talking about reportedly seeing them. So I'm going to play this really, really quick, and we'll keep chatting. I'm enjoying seeing your guys' comments go through.
The death of a Massachusetts woman who died while hiking Camelback Mountain last month has been ruled accidental.
The woman who had to be flown to Arizona, she was flown to Arizona the day before a visit with a Phoenix police officer that she had met on Instagram. And then they took the hike. Fox 10's Nicole Garcia joins us live with what her family is saying about all this. Nicole.
Well, the Maricopa County medical examiner has ruled that 31-year-old Angela Tramonte's death was an accident. She died of heat exposure, but Tramonte's mother says she's furious and frustrated. She believes that the off-duty officer that her daughter was hiking with, Dario Dizdar, should bear some responsibility in what happened to her. The pair started off the hike together, and Angela was found dead after they had separated.
And she thought because he was a police officer, she was safe, and she wasn't.
31-year-old Angela Tramonte's mother is furious, and she believes Phoenix police need to further investigate Angela's death. Angela's mother says she spoke with a Phoenix police officer soon after and gave the officer the location of her daughter's phone.
I sent him the address where it was. It took them 3 hours to find her. And when I talked to Dario that night and asked him, when was the last time you saw my daughter? He said 6 hours ago. So nonchalant.
By the time Angela was found in the backyard of a home.
There's that backyard, guys. There's a better angle of the entire kind of property with the rocks that we were able to line up and find. I'm seeing some interesting comments. I'm gonna comment on these after, but
she'd already passed. Police say there's no evidence of foul play. The medical examiner has ruled the death accidental. Another hiker who crossed paths with the pair took this photo and happened to capture the two. He spoke briefly with Dario that day.
Dario did Angela a disservice that day by separating from her, and he really is not facing any kind of repercussions.
Phoenix police released a statement saying the department did an extensive investigation and that all the evidence points to this being a tragic accident.
The police may not be investigating this, but I won't stop. I will not stop. There is something missing that I, as a mother, cannot put my finger on.
Now, neither Dizdar nor Tramonte had any water with them when they were hiking on Camelback Mountain. Tramonte's mother says she's looking into legal and private investigator options now.
Yikes. To hear her mom talking about that. Brutal. She sounds like she is not going to give up on this story, though. So that's where it's like, I'm interested to see where this goes in the future, because it sounds like this mom is furious about not only how it was handled after the fact, but just his involvement entirely, right? What did you leave my daughter for? Why was it, hours later that you all of a sudden reported her missing and got back to your truck? And it's all pretty strange. And Nuts, nice comment. Crushin' Nuts says, from what I read, he got in an Uber about half a mile from where Angela was found. He's on surveillance camera from a backyard 4 houses away from the house Angela was at. Now that comment is interesting. We need to look into that, because if he truly was in a house or in the back of a house, just a few houses, 3-4 houses away from where Angela was at, and he was caught on camera, then he needs to be, they need to question him as to how he ended up there, right? How did he end up there? I thought he frequented this mountain. I thought he was, and another comment said something. Let me find it here. I gotta find this. Someone basically said something about, it's not illegal, something about him being a jerk, right? And where was it? I don't want to misquote this person. Oh yeah, D. Unfortunately, it's not illegal to be a jerk, though. I'm just saying to be responsible on implying someone is guilty of a crime of this nature. Yeah, I don't want to. I want to reiterate that I'm by no means trying to force this narrative that he is responsible for her, like murdering her or killing her by any means. I just think that there's some serious neglect involved here. There's some serious negligence, because look, no water, you leave her, you apparently go back to all the way to the top of the mountain without her and just let her go back down to your car. You don't give her your keys so she can turn on the AC and get some fresh air. Like, the whole thing is just odd. The whole thing just isn't cool. And like, it's just not like, look, what a crappy guy, if anything, to just let her go back down all by herself. Like, why would he? No, it just doesn't add up. And so, no, D, I don't want to paint the picture that I'm, trying to blame him for that. But anyways, so chat spam will be deleted. If I'm missing some comments, I apologize. If you guys are having to copy and paste to be able to have me see anything, I apologize. What if he was chasing her in that heat? I don't know. Like you're saying, like, what if he saw that she was off the trail, Sherry, and he was maybe trying to go find her, that she had gone off trail, and then maybe he discovered that she was like passed out, and he was like, oh shoot, like I got to get out of here. Like, I don't want to be tied to this. I don't know. He could have searched for her. Maybe he said to her to take this route off the trail. I don't know, Sunshine. Like, why would, he wouldn't have been able to describe the trail well enough to her, right? I don't know. it just doesn't seem like it would add up. And also, it's like, why not go with her? You know, just go back down the mountain. If you're both too hot, you both don't have water. It's just strange. Super, super strange. Kay says, I can't blame the mom. I would feel the same. Yeah. First date a normal person. If she passed away off the trail, maybe he carried her to the house, went back to the trail, and called an Uber. The thing about that different is that you would think that'd be part of his story, right? Because then it's almost like this heroic story of like, look, she passed out, I carried her down the whole mountain, like I went to go get help, or you know, whatever the case may be. It just doesn't add up with his story. Like, you would think that he would use that as his story, and it would be way less suspicious. Legally don't think much can happen, but man, I would be upset. Her family flies down to Phoenix to put hands on someone. Yeah. Oh, Kara, hey, how's it going, Kara K? Welcome to the chat. If you're late, but that's okay. I appreciate you stopping by anyways. It's been a good stream. It's been a lot of fun going through this case and mapping it out. We found some interesting things, and now we're just kind of chatting with everyone. But welcome, Kara. We're not going over any Brian Laundrie stuff today, but we're going over this case of Angela Tramonte. It's tragic. Lisa Thompson says, I think she fell. She very well could have fallen, hurt herself, and just stumbled down the wrong part of the trail and ended up where she ended up. The 4 hours to call thing, yeah, it's strange. They got lost together, and he ditched her thinking she was being a drama queen. That's what I think. He just is a cruel human being and was probably angry with her, says Cynthia. Possibly. If he is married, then he took her out there to get rid of her, says Lena's. I don't know. Well, that's the thing. It's like, maybe someone was commenting early on that I think I missed that said, or maybe it was in a comment of a video before I went live, that was saying possibly she found out that he was married on the trail. Like, what if he got a call or something and she was like, you know, who's that? And it ended up being his wife or whatever the case may be. And then she's like, at that point, she's turning around like, screw this. I'm done with this date. Like, what if he lied to her about all of this? And then he decided to follow her down, and then something ended up happening from there. Who knows? Prayers to her family. Yeah, Stacy, thank you. That's, I mean, it's really not that old of a case. So I'm sure there's going to be more that comes out, potentially, especially if the mom is just super involved in not letting it go. This guy sounds like he had no common sense. Doesn't that mess up his credibility as an officer? Yeah, I mean, I would think so. You would think an officer would know at the very least, especially an officer that has been an officer in Phoenix or in that area for over a decade. He would know to take water with them, at the very least a freaking one bottle. But they reportedly had no water. And it's like, come on, man. Like, common sense. And he reports what condition he was in. He was in good enough condition to talk to law enforcement after and give his statement about what happened. He clearly wasn't, dehydrated to the point where he was passed out and not able to, like, you know what I mean? He wasn't taken to the hospital, I don't believe. CJ Rogers, I'm not quite sure what comment. Can't say anything, eh? Duke Collins. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't see your comment. CJ, if I missed your comment, my bad. I don't see any comments from you, though, CJ. Oh, I do now. Liars and Bad Mods. Nice channel, Aaron. Reread later. I don't think that there are bad mods. I didn't see your message, so if I missed your message, my bad. But yeah, there is a limit on... there's just a limit on how often you can comment. So sometimes it may be listed as spam automatically. So CJ, no worries on that. It just happens. So sometimes when the chat is going fast, especially if we're talking about like the Brian Laundrie case, and there's like more people in here, I have to turn on the slow mode. So CJ, you are definitely not being blocked by any means, because guess what? I just saw your comment again. So if you have something you'd like to contribute, feel free. I know one thing for sure is his wife is going to be asking all the questions. Jen, that's another thing. Does he for sure have a wife? If he for sure is married, which we should look into, Dario Dizdar, really, is he really married? Let's look into that, because it's like, and I also saw a comment on open relationship type things, and like you never know the relationship his wife had. But yeah, I don't know. Nah, that's not it. I don't know what you're talking about, CJ. I'm seeing all your comments now, so. Anyways, they were on a date. Who leaves their date when they just started dating? She's so pretty. Honestly, tell me what mentally sound people, straight men do. Straight men wouldn't have said. Okay, let's go back and take. Yeah. So it's like, if you're on a date with someone that flew out to see you, that probably is only there for a limited time anyways, like, and she just told you, oh, I'm going to turn back. I'm like, I'm tired. You would think you'd be like, okay, well, let's go hang out together in some AC and have a drink and continue to like go on this date. It's so strange. Does Dario have social media? I'm going to look into it. Let's look into his wife. Bizarre reportedly took. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I blame the corrupt cop. He should have walked down. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna ask this again now that there are a few more people in here. Do you think that Dario lied to law enforcement? So do you think his story to law enforcement was false? I mean, he told them shortly after, and if we go back to this article, if we go back to this video, this guy specifically says that he hiked this place often. Like if we go to this is the law enforcement. Check this out.
This initial report.
So we were being told that she's from Boston and that they arrived here yesterday afternoon. This is her first full day. She's never been here before.
But he's from the Phoenix area.
Yeah, he is from here. He is originally from another country. He's been living here for a while, he said, and he's very familiar with this mountain. Says he hikes it at this time of day all the time.
So, sorry to cut it off again. I know some of you maybe haven't heard this part.
I'm from the top to the bottom.
He's reportedly hiked this mountain all the time from the top to the bottom. So do you think he lied to officers about that? Let me know up top. Also, this is an interesting comment that Cade for Peace mentioned, saying they were in his home area, right? This is his area in which he lives. Perhaps someone recognized him and asked, where's your wife, right? So imagine you living in a specific area, going on a date with someone that's not your wife, and you run into one of your friends or a family member, and they're like, hey, who's this? Who are you with right now? Where's your wife, right? That would have definitely raised a red flag, I would assume, for Angela, if she wasn't under the impression, if she was under the impression that that he was indeed single. So that's a really great comment. It looks like Dario has a Twitter account. So let's go to the Twitter account real quick. If there is a Twitter account. So I don't know if this is, it shows on here joined, in July of 2011. So sometimes after these cases happen, these people will make a Twitter in the name of the people involved in cases to then post things that maybe aren't accurate. It looks like his last tweet, he doesn't look like he has any tweets of his own, but he has retweets and replies. So it looks like he replied to Miley Cyrus. If this is truly his Twitter, that's his only interaction, is he's replied to the App Store on a soccer thing in 2015. I have no idea. I don't know if this is him or not. Dario, you're in a pickle. Someone knows about the case. He's always giving me weird vibes. I believe he definitely had some shady part in that girl's death. I don't know. So if this is his Twitter, then he really wasn't super active on it. I got some notifications on here. Hello to people. Oh, Martha, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate it. All right. Cool. Read some more comments. I'm going to read some more comments. There's really not a whole lot to go through. 93% of you say yes, you guys believe that he potentially lied to law enforcement. Tongue twister. So I'm going to leave that poll up for a little while, but I don't really know what else there is to go over in this case. Obviously, we can go more in depth about Dario and his past. Do we know his Instagram account? We can look that up for sure, Whitney. So maybe I just go into certain things like this that you guys are requesting, and then I read some more comments as they go through. We've been streaming now for, let's see, how long have we been streaming for? It's almost 3 o'clock. Wow. So we've been going on 2 hours. So we're going to wrap somewhat soon. Man, these streams go by so fast. It's fun to be in here and chatting with you guys. So I want to end the stream towards the end here with some people. Someone said to open up the lines. Maybe I'll open up the line and I'll take a few phone calls. Should I do that? I'm going to wait for a comment to come through. Let me know if I should open up the line. I have a Google Voice account. You guys can call in. If there's anything about this case in particular you want to mention, let me know and I will open up the line. If enough people say like that they would call in, even if it's just a couple people, if you have something to say, I'll open up the line. I'll wait for those to come in. Amy says yes. Well, I don't know, Amy, if you're saying you would call in, but let me, open lines. Okay. We're going to open lines for the last little part of this stream. We have some people in here still. Let's see. I'm going to give this number. It is the same number to the mod. That is the line. So I have to say before we jump into the calls aren't all going to come through. So there's not a queue right now. So you have to call, it's just pure luck to be able to call in and catch me. I'm going to try to get the calls figured out to where, to where there's some more structure around them, to where it maybe only accepts the first 10 people that call me. But we're going to open up the calls here. We got Freebird coming in. Do you know where he lived? You could map from his house to the mountain. Didn't they say he lives in the area? That would make his story more unbelievable. Freebird, thank you for the $10 super chat. That's a good question. We can look into where he lived specifically. I looked into it a little bit earlier, and I wasn't able to specifically find that, but I also didn't look very hard, so maybe we can find that info. Thank you, Freebird. I really appreciate the super chat. All right, so the line is right there in the chat. Thank you, Alicia, for putting that into the chat. If anyone would like to call, it should. Oh, here it is. It's coming in. Let's take this call here.
Call from Cindy.
We got Cindy on the
To
line.
accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, is this Cindy?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
All right, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling in.
Love watching your show.
Oh, thank you.
I was just wondering if maybe Brian, do you think maybe Brian Laundrie had watched this case or had followed this case before what happened?
I don't know. I mean, it was a pretty recent case, right? And I know I just happened to find this case because I was, like I said at the beginning of the stream, gonna hike this trail anyways. I don't know if it was a big enough case to really get the national attention, but possibly. I mean, they were avid travelers, and they may have had Arizona on their list at some point, and so maybe it came up and he knew about it, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Just something that crossed my mind.
Yeah. Do you think, yeah, I don't know. There's so many stories of, people going missing and things like that people have asked me, do you think Brian knew about this case? And I know he was into some kind of questionable books and authors, and so he did definitely follow some kind of, I don't want to say morbid stories, but he was definitely interested in that kind of, people going missing type of stories, reportedly. So you never know. He could have definitely come across something like this and found it interesting. So possibly.
Did he ever do an interview, this cop? Like on TV or anything? Was he ever interviewed to watch?
I don't know.
Answer questions?
I don't think he did a solid interview. I think he remained pretty quiet. I was trying to find that, and I'm actually looking that up on my other screen right now to see, because I'm interested to see if he came forward and spoke about it as well. That's a good question. I'm trying to find that.
Okay, well, thank you, and keep doing you. You're doing great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for calling. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Bye. All right. Thanks to Cindy for calling in. The line should be open still for anyone else who wants to call in. Like I said, it's just kind of first come, first serve, or whoever comes through the line first, or next, I should say. But yeah, that was a good question. I don't know if Brian was aware of this case. I'm also just not aware if Dario ever did a proper interview. I was looking that up right when I did the calls. Yeah, it doesn't look like
Basin, the story.
Doesn't look like he has. All right, let's answer this one and then we can watch this video.
Call from
Amy.
We got Amy.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
Hi, Aaron. How you doing?
Doing well.
They keep talking about how this guy is from another country, and they were saying he's from Croatia. That's where he came from.
Yeah,
I'd be curious as to what his past was back there. Was he a cop back there? What was he doing? Has there been a history? It would be very interesting to see what his past was with women, if there were cases against him. Was he trying to escape there? Did we not know about what he was doing before he came here? I'm very curious as to what his past was. I live in New Jersey, and the one time I was in Arizona was in August of 2017, and I'm telling you, I couldn't go 10 minutes without a sip of water. So that just so sus about not having water with them. That's just unbelievable.
Right.
So I just think we look into what was his past in Croatia.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Why was he in this country? Is he a bad guy? What has he done? So I just think something is up with that, and maybe he shouldn't be here. Maybe they want him back in Croatia. Maybe he's done a lot of bad stuff back there.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know if that's a good point. I don't know if he moved here when he, like shortly after school in Croatia or whatever the case was. He had been here for clearly a couple of decades because he had served, I think they said he was here for 20 years, and then he had been serving in the police force for like 14 years. So if he was in his mid to late 30s, that would put him being a cop or becoming a cop right around his mid 20s. 23, 24. So that, I mean, he could have been an adult. Yeah, it's not like he probably came from Croatia when he was 3 years old, right? Like a kid. It sounded like he came here in his adult life, right? So
what did he do as a teenager?
Right.
What kind of
yeah.
where were the girlfriends? What did he do back there?
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I'll let other people get on. Just had a few points.
Yeah. That's an interesting
and I have a
point.
daughter, and I have a daughter, and I would never let her. I'd say you let the guy come to you if he's so interested in you, he can come and travel, and I'll be with you, and we make sure I know where you are because you don't know this person from Adam. So.
That's another good point.
I have a child. I would never let her do that. Never.
Right.
I don't care how old she is, but I would never let my daughter, who's 13 now, do that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Have
true.
a good day.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, Amy.
Thanks. Bye.
Amy from I think she said New Jersey. Yeah, that's a really good point. He should have came to her, right? All right, taking another call here. Thanks for calling, guys.
Call from. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
803, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Deborah.
Hey, Deborah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling in.
And my question is, first of all, her family should get the total police reports. But if he told the police he took an Uber to get to his car, did they ask him, where did you take that Uber from? You know?
Right, yeah.
Would it be close to where the house was that she was found behind?
Yeah, I want to, the Uber thing, all of this is so interesting. It's like I keep diving into, everyone's bringing up good points about his past, about, what he was like when he was in Croatia, and now it's just like, if the Uber story is true, they should have that information of where he took that Uber from and like why he got lost in the first place if he was so familiar with that trail. And so I would be wanting those answers for sure if I was the family.
Right, and also part about coming from Croatia. Can you be on the police department if you're not a U.S. citizen? And if not, then he would have had to have been here long enough to go through that process.
To gain his citizenship? Like, was he? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if he was considered.
Can you be a police officer with a green card? Is what I was wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another, man, I'm glad we opened up the calls because this just brings up, I mean, not that it may not reveal something new about the case, but it is interesting to know, like, was he able to easily become a police officer just, shortly after being here? Or, did he have to gain some level of citizenship or partial citizenship? I'm not sure his history, right? His parents, he could have been considered a partial citizen. I don't know if he was born there but had a parent that was from here. So I don't know his whole situation, but it's definitely something to look into. Yeah.
And if we have all these questions, her parents have all the same questions.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And that's what, I mean, that video that was showing her mom, I mean, it sounded like her mom was not going to be giving up on this case. And since this is a pretty recent case just happening back in August, I can only imagine that we're going to have something coming out in the future, whether it's a documentary about this whole thing. And I would imagine her mom is going to be involved in that in some way, and asking these questions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Have a good day.
Yes, you as well. Have a good Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All good questions. I have like multiple tabs open, just looking into all these things now. Trying to see if we can get some more information on this guy. But the caller from before, why did she go out to visit him unless she just really wanted to visit Arizona? I don't know. I would be a little bit hesitant to just meet someone in their own city after only knowing them for a couple of months online. And I know people do that, and she is a grown woman. She can do what she wants, but you would think that, I don't know.
Call from
Phoenix Lights.
Phoenix Lights.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
310, how's it going?
Hey, it's Phoenix Lights in the Scottsdale area. How are you?
Phoenix Lights, nice. I'm doing well. Thanks for calling.
So what I wanted to, you're welcome. So no, what I wanted to add on there to this is that I moved here a couple of years ago from Montana, from northern Montana, and I moved to Montana from Vegas, so I'm used to the heat.
Mm-hmm.
But coming here is just being in Montana for 2.5 years in the cold, and she's from a cold environment, it was pretty tough. So that's about it.
Yeah. So I mean, you said you lived in Vegas, moved to Montana, and then are now back in the area, or the Scottsdale, Phoenix area
on the
now?
West Coast. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a good point. I mean, you can become, even though you were kind of used to that heat, even just a few years in somewhere that's not even. Yeah. So if she was just from the Northeast, always was familiar with that, like she could have been very active, could have been familiar with these kinds of things. But the moment you go into this kind of climate, and that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you were in here, I hiked this same trail a couple weeks later, and you know, I'm not the most fit in the world, but I've done hikes similar to this of the same like distance and kind of skill level, but not in this kind of heat. You know, it was in Colorado in the middle of summer where you've got like really moderate levels of heat. So it's like this can really throw people off if they're not used to this kind of heat. So that's a good point. Just even you having that experience of leaving this area and coming back and just kind of being hit with that heat again, realizing how drastic it is. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I see your name is Phoenix Lights. You're familiar with the story of the all the lights that they saw back in what was that, the 80s or 90s? Yeah.
It was, I think, 96 or something like that.
Yeah.
I always talk to people. I always ask people about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It seemed like a huge story around that time. I mean, it sounds like a lot of people saw something similar. So I saw it.
It's pretty interesting. It's really nice out here. And it's just interesting. I just know for myself, being a man, I would never leave a woman like that. Not trying to judge anybody,
Right.
but I definitely want to do that. That wouldn't happen.
No, definitely not. Yeah. And especially if he was familiar with being in, if he was a police in that area for even a year, he would know to like be prepared in these situations. And it sounds like he's been in that area for over a decade. So it's super weird to just not be prepared in the first place with water. But yeah, like you even said, you would think he would know that nothing good will come from leaving someone in the heat like that. I'm sure he, being a cop, has had several instances where he's heard of situations like this. So it's like you would think he would be smart enough to not do that. So no judgment here. I'm on the same boat. I would never do that. I would never do that.
I wouldn't do it. But then again, we all have our, you know what I mean? Who knows,
right. Yeah. But
unfortunate. So.
It's all in all,
thank you
super
for
unfortunate.
thank you for your streaming, Aaron.
Yes.
And I hope that I was able to help a little.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Is the weather? So I was there, like I said, back in August. Are things cooling down right now? Is it nice to be in Phoenix, that area, at this time of year?
It's really nice.
Starting to get better. Yeah.
It's July and August, and June, July, August. That's really rough.
Yeah.
But other than that, and we have really great monsoons. Last season was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I just enjoy the weather quite a bit.
Yeah. The week I was there, it rained a lot.
I was all the way in northern Montana for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And so it was, and I actually experienced the coldest winter in Montana history there. The last winter I was there, so
wow.
It was really nice to come back to the sunshine and all the beautiful. You see like Camelback Mountain and stuff. It's really beautiful here.
Yeah. No, I'd love to go back at some point, especially with the temperature a little bit more manageable. But
right.
But yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for calling in and giving us your perspective on the different places you've lived and just the heat overall. So if someone being from that area, you know exactly how it can be. So thanks again.
You're welcome, Aaron. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That was a good call from someone, both someone that had lived in that area and lived in a cooler area, and just explaining how bad that heat can actually be. Thanks for the call from Northern Lights, or not Northern Lights, the Phoenix Lights. This is the top of the mountain. So for those of you who wanted to know what the top of the Camelback Mountain looks like, this is it. You get these amazing views of the city, the entire surrounding area, really, which is really, really cool. But yeah, like he said in that call, like he wouldn't, leave someone, regardless. Like I was saying in the stream, I was there with a buddy of mine, a guy, and I wouldn't have left him just because it's like, I mean, if he was feeling crappy, it's like, I'm not going to finish the hike and leave him down by the car for an hour by himself. Like, regardless of who it would be, I wouldn't leave them. So it's super weird that he did. These calls have been great, guys. I'm going to look at some of the chat here. I know we just hit the 2-hour mark on the stream, but I am enjoying some of these calls, so I'll do a couple more. Like Alicia says, there's no queue right now, so if you just tried to call and you weren't able to get through, you can always try again. I'm going to try to streamline the calling situation in the future, to where more people are able to just like get in line, and I'm able to take only a certain amount of calls. So if you have tried to call and I wasn't able to get you in the call, in the chat, you could always try again. What happened to the buddy system, says Case. Exactly. People have forgotten all of the things that they learned, hopefully, as kids. I don't know if everyone learned the buddy system. Shout out to Aaron's awesome community. Yes. Thank you to the people who... And I just want to say, Alicia makes some great points in the chat. The community that we're starting to build here, we had over at one point almost 500 people in here, and we're not even talking about the case that kind of... that I started this whole YouTube channel around, the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. It's cool to see people in here that are interested in talking about and diving deep into other stories and other cases. And, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. I see Angela in the chat. I see Deborah. I see just many, many people. Cindy, I see all the time. Allison. There's a lot of names that come up that are familiar names that I see not only in this chat, but in previous streams. And so thank you to the little community that we're building here. And of course, as the Petito Laundrie case develops more, which hopefully we will get more information, I'm definitely going to hop back in that, because we all want to know more answers around that. But thanks to the people that are constantly here, or at least try to catch the streams after the fact. We're building a small community, and it's really cool to see. There's more on Twitter via Dave Biscobing showing them on Mountain. ABC 15 apparently did a segment. Miss Wee Lassie. Oh, Miss Wee Lassie is another familiar name. Thank you for that. I'm going to go to that Twitter page, and obviously the lines are still open. If you do want to call in, it is up in the chat. Alicia has posted it several times. You may have to scroll back. But I'm going to go to that Twitter page that Miss Wee Lassie has mentioned. Dave Biscoby? Where was it? Biscobing. Oh, he's a reporter out of Phoenix area. So let me look up his name and then the case. And then I'll open that up. Angela. So Dave's Twitter, I don't know if this is what you're referring to there, Miss Wee Lassie. Corinna says, you're right, we are a good community. Yeah, there's a great community here, for sure. Sammy's another one that's always in the chat. Raindrops is always in there. Missy, thank you. This is the tweet from Dave back in September. So shortly after this whole thing, we just obtained the medical examination of Angela Tramonte, who died on Camelback Mountain after separating from a Phoenix police officer on a hiking date. Her death was classified as accidental and the result of heat exposure. So based on the above findings, reported circumstances of death, and all other investigative information received to date and as available to me, it is of my opinion that the descendant Angela Noel Tramonte, a 31-year-old woman, died as a result of environmental heat exposure. The manner of death is an accident. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I'll have to look more into Dave because it sounds like he's a local reporter, and he probably talked a bit about this, especially as it was happening. Phoenix Light says, "I feel your map searching really sets you apart." Well, thank you. And you know, if you guys weren't here for the beginning of this, I feel like that's the way I like to look at cases like this and many other cases is looking at the maps, right? We hear about her turning around halfway up the mountain and then just ending up in a house northeast of the mountain, and I'm thinking, well, where did she end up? Like, let's try to pinpoint what happened. Let's try to get a better picture. And so this is why the map stuff is just so interesting to me, and we were able to live in this stream pair up this footage with the footage from that news article right here, so we can see that it all lines up. Well, now I'm all over the place here. This footage here. So yeah, if he did in fact take an Uber from this area, it's the same place, same house, same gate. And yeah, the mapping stuff, it's super, super interesting to me. So it's like, that's the way I like to look at cases. That's the way I like to dive in deep. And I'm glad that you guys enjoy that. So anyways, I don't know, guys. I think I'm going to leave it at that for this one. I don't want the stream to ramble on too long. We took a few calls. We dove into a few maps. We talked about the case overall from beginning to end, and I know there's still certain things that there's certain questions that people have. I'm going to definitely follow this, especially if the mom comes forward with any more information, any more, just anything as it relates to this case. I'm definitely going to follow it. There's not much more to talk about just because the case has kind of just been ruled as an accident. And so we have to, follow it as such. And it looks like Brian Hoffman is asking you to look at this link. Okay. It says, oops, something went wrong when I clicked that link, Alicia. Oh no, what happened? Let me pull this back up. But yeah, so I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go too long on the stream, but I appreciate the people calling in. I appreciate the people sending super chats, super stickers. All of that is so helpful. It helps with the equipment. I know that I'm potentially going to be getting a new microphone soon. So that all helps with that stuff. I'm going to end this poll real quick. I'm going to try to click that link. I'm not able to. Let me try to click that link again, Alicia. Open link in new tab. It just says something went wrong on my end. If you're able to send it to me, I'll quickly go over that and then I'll end the stream. But Allison, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are amazing. The lemon waving. Shay says, definitely suspicious for an in-shape and experienced body, young man, conditioned and knowledgeable in that area. Yes, exactly. I can't believe that he would just let her walk off in a strange place to her if she was in distress. And heat stroke can make you confused and disoriented. Makes no sense. I like seeing these comments come through. I'm going to read some more of these. Thanks again, Allison, for the super sticker. Yeah, and I'll check out that link. I'll check out that link here soon. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go too far, but I'm enjoying seeing some of these chats come in. Arizona AZ Beauty 7. I don't know if that's Arizona Beauty 7. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. Actually, you know what? My mod just sent me, Alicia just sent me the link. I'm going to go ahead and copy it and send it to myself on here, and I'll pull it up because I don't want to gloss over what Brian Hoffman was trying to say. So we'll keep it going. Thanks to the people that are still in here. We got one more thing we're going to check out just since Brian sent sent a link over. I want to make sure I'm showing the right stuff that people are sending. Like I said, I'm going to keep reading these chats as they're coming in. Hopefully everyone's having a great Sunday. Go Pats. Are you a Patriots fan? Cindy, thank you. Thank you for a great stream. Well, thank you, Cindy. And thanks for, like I said earlier, thanks for being at a lot of the streams. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to pull this email up from Brian or from whoever it was. Brandon? Sorry if I'm butchering that. We're going to watch this real quick. Brian Hoffman, hopefully this is the right link. I'm going to play it real quick. I'll be reading some comments as they're coming through. Thanks again to AZBeauty7 for the $5 super sticker.
All new at 6, an exclusive update from the ABC 15 investigator.
Some new details tonight on the tragic death of a woman at Camelback Mountain 1 week ago. We broke the story, exposing she was hiking with this Phoenix police officer. Officer Dario Dizdar left her halfway up the mountain on a date.
This video only on ABC 15 when we spotted him by chance outside of police headquarters. Investigator Dave Biskobing shows us what happens next as he uncovers just how rescuers found the victim.
It was across the street from Phoenix Police Headquarters on Thursday. An ABC 15 news crew was parked and suddenly spotted Officer Dario Dizdar. It caught our journalists completely off guard, which is why the video you're about to see begins out of focus and overexposed.
I got my statement out, gave to the detective. All right, help me write the narrative.
Before we got the camera out and rolling, Dizdar told ABC 15 Zach Crenshaw the story being told about him is wrong. So Zach asked him to tell us more, and what you just saw is what he said in return, so let's play it again.
I got my statement out, gave to the detective.
Afterwards, our cameras watched Dizdar walk into police headquarters, but that's not the end of what happened. But before we tell you more, here's some important new details about Angela Tramonte and what happened the day she died. ABC 15 obtained this official incident report from a Phoenix Park ranger. It gives specific details about how rescuers finally found Tramonte after hours of searching. Quote, Fire was in contact with Phoenix police and had them ping her phone. When that wasn't enough, Fire was able to have a friend of Angela use an iPhone application to get a more accurate ping. By narrowing down the area, PD units went door to door, knocking in the neighborhood. Angela's body was found in the backyard of this home on the side of Camelback Mountain. And while the park ranger's report clears up how she was found, it also raises more questions. The most obvious, if her phone was on, why didn't she call for help? But it also raises concerns about the evolving story we're getting from police and fire officials. Here's what Fire first said at the scene about this officer.
He's been living here for a while, he said, and he's very familiar.
So we saw this earlier.
From the top to the bottom.
Then this week, fire officials...
He just basically talked about he was familiar with the hiking there.
...called our newsroom and asked us to stop using that soundbite because they misunderstood Dizdar. They claimed he hadn't hiked Camelback in years. He got lost himself on the way down and had to Uber back to the parking lot. But in the park ranger's incident report...
Hold on. This is great. Brian, thank you for sending this. Also, so many people are talking about how good looking he is. Guys, he's a good looking guy, right? It's like some cops aren't, right? There's a wide variety of first responders, right? This guy is clearly a really fit guy. So that brings up the same question earlier, talking about how did he... And look, heat exhaustion will get to anybody. It doesn't matter how fit you are. But let's repeat this because this confirms the Uber thing. Let's listen to this again real quick.
Our newsroom and asked us to stop using that soundbite because they misunderstood Dizdar. They claimed he hadn't hiked Camelback in years. He got lost himself on the way down and had to Uber back to the parking lot. But in the park ranger's incident report, it states Dizdar told the ranger, quote, he was local and did this hike all of the time. And remember, the officials say neither Dizdar nor Tramonte brought any water.
Halfway up, she becomes overheated, wants to turn around. He tells her to turn around, go back down to the parking lot. He continues up to the peak, makes his way up to the top, comes all the way back down to the parking lot. She's not here.
Tramonte was from the Boston area. She flew in to meet Dizdar for the first time. The two had been chatting online. So there's a lot more our news crew wanted to ask Dizdar when he came back out of PD headquarters. Instead, Phoenix Public Information officers came out with his keys and moved his car. A spokesperson told our reporter it's because they didn't want anyone to recognize his vehicle. I'm investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
We reached out to Phoenix
Interesting. Hold on.
PD with questions about this story. They responded late this afternoon. They say they don't know what specific questions were asked by fire and park personnel. But in a recorded interview, Dizdar told them this was his first time hiking the Echo Canyon Trail. They also say investigators found proof of a rideshare trip on his phone. Police say the investigation into Tramonte's death continues. Dizdar is cooperating, and there is no indication of foul play.
Okay. So first of all, I'm glad I stayed on because Brian, that's a really good video to link. Brian, I really appreciate you linking that up with Alicia. Alicia, thanks for sending that to me. I'm surprised I didn't come across that in kind of my initial searches. That confirmed, because apparently he ended up going back or backtracking. So the initial statement, or from the officer at the bottom of the mountain, was that he had hiked this mountain several times. He was familiar with it, but then apparently he said that that this was his first time hiking Echo Trail, and maybe it was his first time hiking the Echo Trail, but it wasn't his first time hiking the mountain. Because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, there are several trails on Camelback Mountain. The day that we went, this one on the east side of the mountain was not open, but there is the trailhead right here for the Cola. That wasn't open. Maybe he'd hiked that all the time and they misquoted him by saying that he had hiked this mountain often. But the fact that they had confirmed on his phone that there were ride shares that had happened definitely confirms that he probably came down the mountain and was nearby and Ubered back to the parking lot. So wow, that's very interesting. Thank you again, Brian, for sending that. Freebird says more lies. Well. Guys, everyone give a big shout out to Alicia. She has been an incredible mod in the past few streams. She's been great. Thanks again, Alicia, for all that you do. And to everyone else that's in here, thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for engaging with the chat. Thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday. I saw a few people saying, Cindy said, go Chiefs. I don't know if you're a Chiefs fan, Cindy. I am certainly a Chiefs fan. They're not playing the best right now, but I'm going to definitely go watch the Chiefs versus Packers. I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. If you found this video interesting on the way out, let's hit the like button. Let's gently tap it on the way out and maybe get this thing to 400 likes as we exit and as we all filter out of here. That would be awesome. We got some love for Alicia in the chat. But yeah, let's get this thing up to 400 likes. I'm going to read a few comments on the way out. I know I said I was going to end the stream like 20 minutes ago, but I'm glad we got to see that video. CJ Rogers, thank you. Thanks for saying that, CJ. Also, CJ, if there was any issue earlier in the chat, I apologize. Sometimes there's issues and they get automatically removed because they think it's spam, but it's just YouTube. So thank you, CJ, for understanding. Thanks for being here. Pamela, thank you. Deb, thank you. Sammy, thank you all for being here. Shay, thanks again. That's an awesome comment. Shay, thank you for dropping in a lot of these streams. Really appreciate it. Terry, thank you for your hard work. And yes, thank you. Casey, thank you. See you next time. Yeah. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for dropping by the stream, guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Like I said earlier, we're going to drop back in and talk more about the Brian Laundrie Gabby Petito case as more develops. Obviously, we're kind of in a holding pattern waiting for more information to come out. But stay on the lookout. Check the community tab each day. I'm going to be posting updates, especially if I know times that I'm potentially going to stream. So thanks again to everyone. We got to the 400 likes. You guys are all incredible. Have a great rest of your Sunday. All right. Change your clocks back. Remember. All right. Talk soon, guys. Bye.